Yes, sir. So just want to say welcome back. For those of you who are checking in for the second time, we want to introduce you to the ever so popular and super new, but everybody across the world is talking about it, Everyday Lessons Now. And today is the Everyday Lesson show with yours truly, Jaiga, and the super amazing Dr. Amala Lunchin. So we say welcome, guys. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. So we're back here. It's a nice looking Monday. As we promised, we try to upload the show every Monday. Some of you mightn't be listening on a Monday, but if you are, we say welcome. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here again. Episode number 2. Very excited.
Yes. I love the new, I love your feng shui.
Thank you so much.
I love your feng shui, and I'm sure the viewers as well are going to appreciate the feng shui. She could tell, guys, she put a lot of time and effort in all the aesthetics of how it looks, and she's teaching you while teaching you. And while I'm with you could like uni back, you know how you all do it. You're going and munching. What is that? What is that? I want to read some of them books because she's so smart. I want to be smart like her because everybody thinks that when you see something happening, you can just copy it from the outside.
Indeed.
You understand? And that is such a beautiful segue to go into what we're going to be talking about today, which is understanding the assignment.
Yes. That was a good segue indeed. That was a good segue. Yes.
Yeah, because many of the times people see things happening in everyday life, at the job site, in people's career, and you look from the outside and think that I can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. Not understanding what it really what is required and what it takes. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about really the textbook definition of understanding the assignment.
I think really, let's say you had a job description. It's going to list all the things that are required in your position. A lot of them may be things that have come from school. A lot of them may be things that are soft skills, which is what we like to talk about. So things like emotional intelligence and so on. So what does emotional intelligence look like when we talk about understanding the assignment? So I think one of the biggest things is self-awareness in terms of emotional intelligence. So you want to think of how you look in the space regarding whatever that assignment is. So you think of social media now when you think of every post that you've seen where somebody is understanding the assignment, and it's interesting because a lot of times people really are just trying to fit in, but is it really who you are? And I think once you can show up as your true authentic self, you cover a lot of what understanding the assignment is about.
For real. And as we say, this show is about really opening your mind to everyday living and things that you've seen every day. And sometimes you too mightn't really understand your assignment, and it can be with anything, your assignment or your role as, let's say, for instance, in a relationship. In every relationship, we know how man-woman conversations always gets tricky, but in every relationship, every individual has a role. Mm-hmm. Every individual has a role in a relationship, and some people don't understand their role. And that's why you see marriages falling apart or relationships falling apart. That is because people misunderstand what are their role in said relationship. Mm-hmm. And when we say relationships, now we can get broader relationships amongst even friendships. Some friendships fall apart because as a friend, you are expected. This is like an unspoken rule in friendship. You're expected to be supportive most of the times. And there are things that people go through and they will need a friend. Like loss. If you have a friend and they've lost a loved one, subconsciously you believe that this is the person you should be able to lean on. Mm-hmm. And that person mightn't understand the assignment in that moment and not do what is required by you, not by them, because you remember it's a pull and tug. You might have, and that now takes us to open communication and dialogue with each other. Mm-hmm. Now, that is one of the ways to help you or help every individual understand the assignment, because you can only understand the assignment if you know what it is. Because sometimes you get a job description and like everything else, let's be fair, because as I said from the first episode, this space is about being transparent and open, non-judgmental. A lot of people lie on their resumes.
Indeed.
A lot of people. And remember, in life, your life is I believe your life is your resume.
It is.
For someone like me, I live in a space where I always felt as though my life and everything I do on a day to day, it's me building my resume. What I put on my life resume is really how I'm going to live my life, or what
Right.
I will get from my life, depending
Right.
on what I do. So what people do on a resume is like the job description is, we're looking for somebody to manage a finance company. When you know you was only a teller at the bank. Your level of finance was just at that stage.
It was a little below what they require now.
Yeah, but you buffed it up in such a way,
Yes.
and then you said you worked at this institution for many, many years, and then you have a friend there because the person who they're talking to is your uncle, and they give you a high recommendation. So when you get into the actual job, you cannot do some of the required stuff that is needed to execute whatever it is you have to execute at that time. So we're looking at it from that job side. That is a lot of things, a lot of times that's what people do. And in relationships, they do the same thing. When you now meet someone for the first time, you're on a job interview. We call it a relationship interview.
Right.
Understand? And in that interview, the person on the next end will be listening or will try to itemize some of the things that's required, like especially man, woman, again, has to go there. A man will have requirements from a lady. And he will talk to a certain girl, and she might carry certain characteristics that he loves. But this is at the beginning because she buffered the
resume.
buffered the resume. And the same thing applies to men. Men buffer their resumes way more than women.
Oh,
Let's be
really?
honest. Of course. A man resume is always good. You ever see a man with a bad resume? Always good. Because some of the things you don't ever get to ask questions like, why were you fired from your last job?
Right.
You
Right.
don't ever get to ask. So why are they done? Nobody asks this question because it's inappropriate. You understand? So understanding the agenda is first understanding what is required. And when you do that fully, is then it makes it easier. And if you're honest with self, which is all of these things we will talk about in episodes to come, being self-aware. But when you understand self and you know, well, okay, I cannot do this job, and you're honest with yourself, that too is understanding your assignment.
And it could save a lot of trouble.
Of course.
Save a lot of trouble.
Tons and tons and tons of trouble. Tons and tons of trouble.
Yeah. You said something that I kind of just want to go back to a little bit. You said if somebody experiences loss as a friend, you need to be able to understand that. Many times people would say, someone's parent or whomever passed and they didn't know what to say. And so they didn't say anything. And sometimes people are expecting that friend to reach out to them. That is something that we could also, be aware of. And I understand it's tricky, but put yourself in empathy is what is necessary. Put yourself in that person's place, even if it's just a text would be better than nothing at all. Silence is not helpful in a situation like that. So,
and not only that, as you say, silence is not helpful. It's not at all. But sometimes what is required is just even the recognizing of silence. Meaning, if you knowing that you don't know what to say, or you feel as though you're not comfortable with that or with that type of sadness, you need to articulate that.
Yes,
Tell
exactly.
Tell your friend, listen, I feel your pain. I understand what you're going through, but I really cannot give words of comfort. But if you need me to do something for you because obviously you're distraught,
Right.
call me. I'm there. You need me to go pick up a bottle of water. You need me to go run an errand. You need me to pick up your kids. You need me anything at all. That's where the empathy comes in. You show that, listen, I'm here for you. I mightn't be here for you in an emotional sense. Like, I don't know. I can't give you comfort in words, lay your head on my shoulder type person. I can utilize other skills.
Right.
And that is part about understanding the agenda with respect to talking about friendships. And it happens too in the workplace. If we take it now to the workplace, you might be having an issue with management, middle management, and the communication is not there at all. You also have to know how to navigate around that, meaning instead of gaslighting or making the situation worse, you go textbook. Textbook meaning, what is your job portfolio and what is required of you? And if it is you are doing just that, but the person you're reporting to doesn't really quite get it, you have to go textbook on them. You have to listen. Utilize the tools at your disposal. Say, listen, the guidelines for such and such is this, and I'm doing this. If you require me to do something other than this, we need to rewrite.
We need to talk about it. Yes.
And we need to go and sit with who we need to sit with to figure out what are the new guidelines or what are the guidelines that will help you. Because clearly, the ones that they're using here is not working because I'm doing it and you still have a problem.
Right. Right.
You understand? So that's some of the things about understanding the agenda, and it could go to the simplest of things, guys. When we're talking about understanding the agenda in terms of, let me bring it back now, back into relationships. A lot of the things we'll talk about, guys, will be a lot of relationship stuff as well, because and when I say relationship, I'm not just talking man woman, just human interaction, because that's what we're here to talk about, is everyday living, right? And things that you will see or will encounter on a daily basis. You with someone and something like taking out the garbage, right? Taking out the garbage in a situation with man and woman. A lady might say, listen, I do everything else, and what is required of you is just to take out the garbage.
Right.
And most men know they have to take out the garbage, but will prefer to do it on their time. And the woman in that situation will want it done in a particular time or in a particular manner.
Right.
That is not, and she's not getting it from said individual.
Right.
So in that case, you have to dig deep within self and figure out how could you best deliver the support needed while trying to have that person understand the assignment. And that then comes into the way you communicate about it, the way you express, and your body language, your facial, because that is very important. Body language is important, because if when she says to do it, your response is one of disgust,
right,
and the frowns in the face and the tilting of the eye, it then triggers a different emotion in that person.
From her, yeah.
Will then start to say, I could never ask you to do nothing, and it could get argumentative at that point. So you do have to take stock of self, and in that moment, understand the agenda is not to create rab, but create balance. Keep it peaceful and create the solution. Right? And it's about, most things in life is about solutions as opposed to continuously looking for other problems, because and it's human nature. Some of the things we have to talk to ourselves about. We quick to, as human beings, especially West Indian people, jump on the wagon of that they're not doing this right, this is not good, this is good. And nobody stops to say, okay, this is not good. How about instead of using 4, let's try using 6. Instead of using 6, let's try using 2 to see what
that change would bring.
What a change will bring to rectify said situation. And all of these things fall under the banner of understanding
the assignment. Yep, indeed. In social situations, I like to talk about dressing appropriately too, because I think that's one of the ways that you need to understand the assignment. You don't show up to places dressed like, it's a whole other thing you're going to. I think that is one of the important things. And we see people getting it, I wouldn't want to say wrong, but not appropriate. And
that is in many different things too. Even understanding the assignment could reach as far as your email address, your social media handles.
Oh yes,
that is part of understanding the assignment.
Yes.
You can't be expected to want a corporate position and your email address is hotboy74. Or hot girl 69, hot girl Betty 69 underscore thickness diva.
Inappropriate.
And that's also part of understanding the assignment.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
As a parent, going to represent your child and family and name and self. As I said, represent child, family, name, and self.
Yeah.
But as a parent, if you're going to a PTA meeting, you're now representing child. You're also representing name, then self.
Yes.
Family, then self.
Yes.
Because you are a representation of your child, then your representation of your child's name, which you carry, your representation of your entire family, and then your representation of self. In that moment, you have to understand the assignment. It's very inappropriate, both men and women. As a father, why would you go to your daughter's son PTA meeting and a wife beaters and a shorts and a slippers, and not taking away any economic or financial situations?
Right.
We're not taking it because people will quick to say, well, why would you all say that? Some people cannot afford this, and I'm not speaking about that. You will know. If it's one thing, especially Black people are very resilient, and we are smarter than we try to make people believe. We are very smart because we know how, we understand the assignment when it's purpose for us.
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
We can even just shift just a quick second to talk about in the early days and in the late 90s into 2000s when clubbing was a big thing in the Caribbean. Club owners presented their place with a particular stigma. We want this dress code, but you want
Absolutely.
a drink, so you will dress appropriately. In order for you to party, dress
Yes.
so the same has to apply in everything. So
In life.
you go to your child's PTA meeting, you will expect that as a mother. You're not saying to go and buy Louis Vuitton or Balenciaga to go to the meeting, but dress appropriately because you know within self what is appropriate. And the same goes for fathers as well. It's like the younger dads, you can't drive onto the school compound playing a Vibes Cartel at 1,010 decibels. Come on, when you're disrupting the entire school for somebody to say, who's that? That is Sherry father. Come on.
Right.
That's off. And the same goes for mommy. You can't expect to go in there in a hot skate and a crop top.
Right.
With lipsticks on and a high and a 7,000-inch heel. Come on.
Right.
And I'm not telling you that we're not telling you how to dress, but you have to know how to dress where and when.
But in some places, people are able to articulate that, or businesses articulate that by having a dress code. I think now Barbados has done that for going to ministries. It was not met with
The same thing happened in Trinidad as well. It was
okay.
You do it like if you're going to renew your driver's permit, you're not
Right.
allowed to go in a shorts and burst up jeans, any sleeveless.
Right. The sleeveless thing too.
Government offices.
You can't
have
go with
to set up
sleeveless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So, little things like that, I think, trickle down into society, because now you would think, oh, well, if it's not appropriate for the ministry, then maybe, I should rethink how I do certain things. And we like to talk about learning and unlearning. That's one of the things that we could do. Yep.
So yes, so again, guys, for those of you, beauty of podcast is that you wouldn't jump into the show here because we're not live. You'll be hearing from before, but that's for the benefit of if you were so engrossed in the conversation and enjoying yourself. Remember where you are. This is Everyday Lessons Now at gmail.com. You can send us any questions or information. That is the address, and you're also going to see it on the screen as well. For those of you who are viewing, but if you're just listening to us, feel free to send us your feedback at everydaylessonsnow at gmail.com, and follow us on all our social media handles, which is Everyday Lessons Now. Well, Everyday Lessons Now on Instagram, and for Twitter, it's EVRY. Day lessons. It's just
Right.
the E is not there. The second E is not there. So just remember, for Twitter only, EVRYDAY. All right, Everyday Lessons Now for Twitter, and for Instagram, Everyday Lessons Now. All right, and that's how we are. Then you can get us at a Gmail anytime you wish. So we're jumping right back into it again because we're talking about understanding the assignment, understanding the agenda, whatever it is. And we know, like right now, we are living in a very fickle time with COVID and all the things that happen, misinformation and all of that. We're seeing now where understanding the agenda is very important.
It's important.
Because we are seeing mismanagement of people and platform. Because there are a lot of influential people who are saying very
disparaging things.
Yes. And they too don't understand the assignment that is now. The assignment now should be on everybody's mind as individuals wanting to get to a place of normalcy, some sort of normalcy and comfort where we can all function as human beings and get past COVID-19, because it has, if you just seen the effects, it have affected millions of people across the world on all levels, emotionally, financially, and the mental pushback or the mental carnage it has caused.
Yeah, that's immeasurable, really.
Yeah. We're talking plenty carnage. There's a lot of people struggling from all sorts of discomforts because of what the pandemic may trickle down. And remember, it really affects the lower income people. So every individual has a part to play. So your role after ending this episode today is looking at yourself and asking yourself, how can I better perform in my role? Whatever that role might be, any role as a human being, be it if you're lower management, upper management, you're just a casual worker, a wife, a husband, a friend, a brother, a sister. Everybody has a role. So ask yourself, how can I better my role?
What can you do to be more self-aware? What is your assignment, and how can you better understand that assignment? Two simple questions, and it can help you go down into really assessing yourself and just seeing what you can do differently. And it's not a matter of better or worse, but it's different because some things may have to be different. You can't just, go continue with the same thing if you realize that you're missing the mark or if you're not understanding.
Exactly. All right. So, guys, want to thank you all so much for being a part of this episode once again. The only podcast in the entire universe that gives you the art form.
Indeed.
In the background. So, not only do we, as I said, educate, we entertain, and we keep you with that smile on your face. And remember, as we said, great it is, the art form it is, but remember, everyday lessons. No. That's what we're here to talk about. Everyday lessons. Every Monday, we upload a new episode, so you can feel free to continue and share with your friends. And I guarantee you, in the upcoming weeks, months, and years, you're going to look back and say, hey, I really learned a lot. And it was amazing.
Indeed.
So, Doc, thank you so much for today. Until next week.
Thank you so much.
Leave them with a little music as per normal. You'll take a little dance. Yeah. We gone.